Jerry Schiffer had a vision that he'd bring historic aviation to Champaign County. He loved aviation and was a pilot himself. And so Jerry, as I understand it, ordered every available piece of a B-17 in the country that he could find. Had them shipped in on 18-wheel tractor trailers. Unfortunately, the day the first shipment arrived, he took off to his lodge in Montana and crashed his plane and died. So the short story is that 2 years of trying to dust things off and sandblast and put them back together turned out to be impossible. So a decision was made: take it apart, make a template for new parts, build new parts, shape them, bend them, heat treat them, paint them, coat them with epoxy paint, and put it back together again. And that's basically what's going. So this is really not a restoration. This is a reconstruction of an airworthy B-17. It's building 90%, 85% new B-17. It's the only one in the country that's happening. It's an incredible process. It's done all through volunteer work. The gentlemen that are working on the inner wing have been doing that for 9 years. And now we're finally getting to the stage where we're putting ribs between the two spars. We have people that drive in from Florida and spend a couple weeks here. We have people that come from England to spend 2 weeks and work on the plane. There isn't any place else that you can go and be hands-on doing what we're doing, building a B-17.
Yeah, he put himself up in a motel, and he had his girlfriend go out and buy all the Buddy Holly records that he could find. And what she did, she brought back a stack of them, and he sat there for 3 days playing those songs through and through. He never really got over that, and then he recorded the song 3 Stars, and he was almost crying in that song when he sang it. It's really emotional thing for him.
My daddy, he was a pioneer, and he started his own band and taught himself how to play the saxophone. The name of his band was George Evans and the Crusaders. He started the shoeshine parlor with 1 chair and ended up with 15. The interesting part about that was during the segregated years, you see, we had to have the white up front and the black in the back. In our own business, you know, I had one of the kids in later years say, well, it was y'all's business. Why did you have to have the white in the front and the black in the back? I said, it was simple. We had to eat, you know. If we had tried to do it any other way, we would have had no business. He had taught over 500 boys how to shine shoes. And people today, I talked to some people last week, they said that that shine parlor wasn't just a shoe shine parlor. It was the image of young black men learning how to use their hands and make a living. And we had kids from that shine parlor to move out and walk into all walks of life, you know.
The government would come around and tell you how much the crops that you could grow. And my grandfather told the Fed, he said, "Do you remember the railroad track you passed on the way out to my farm?" And the guy said, "Well, yeah, I do." He said, "Well, you better get on the other side of that railroad, because if you come across it again and tell me what I can plant, I'm going to blow you up with a shotgun." And the guy left, the Fed left, and my grandfather grew whatever he wanted after that.
And he ran with Dillinger.
Yes.
I'm a former SPAM ambassador at the SPAM Museum in Austin, Minnesota. And you'd asked the question about how the Hormel girls got started. Jay Hormel felt like the women were in the plant when the men were off to war and taking their spots and keeping things going. And then when the men came back after the war, the women got kicked out, and he didn't feel that was fair. So he decided to start a drum and bugle corps, and he called it the Hormel Girls. And they went to the American Legion Drum and Bugle Corps competition as the first female group to ever. So what Jay did was turn the Hormel Girls from a drum and bugle corps into the very first female sales force for the Hormel Company. And they would go in a caravan, and they would go into a town, and they would visit the grocery stores and talk about the Hormel products. And then they would go door to door, and they think that it might have been some of the first couponing that ever happened. And Jay had them handing out coupons to all the housewives with, you know, buy 1 can of chili or get 20% off, or buy 1 can, get 2 cans, whatever the coupon was. But they think that may have been some of the first couponing that was ever done too.